According to leaked documents circulating in international defense circles, China has reportedly ordered 20 Il-78MK-90A aerial refueling tankers from Russia. The report first surfaced through specialized defense outlets such as Army Recognition and Defense Blog, which traced internal procurement data from Russia's aerospace industry. If accurate, this deal would mark one of the largest Chinese acquisitions of a foreign tanker platform in decades, a move that raises eyebrows inside Western intelligence communities. It's not the quantity that surprises analysts, but the signal behind the decision. For years, Beijing has invested heavily in its indigenous aerial refueling program, the YY-20, based on the domestically built Y-20 transport aircraft. The project was meant to symbolize China's technological independence, proof that it could finally produce a modern strategic tanker without foreign help. Yet, if the leaked order is genuine, China's return to Russian hardware suggests that confidence in its own program may not be as solid as its propaganda implies. According to Army Recognition, the leaked document lists China as customer 156, with deliveries scheduled between 2027 and 2028. The Il-78MK-90A is the latest evolution of Russia's Il-76MD-90A platform, a workhorse updated with modern engines, digital avionics, and composite materials. It carries a maximum takeoff weight of roughly 210 tons, can transfer up to 78 tons of fuel, and refuel as many as 3 aircraft at once. It cruises near 800 kilometers per hour and can operate from semi-prepared runways, a critical advantage for dispersed or forward-deployed operations. Experts cited by Defense News believe the choice is pragmatic rather than ideological. Beijing knows that expanding its air reach requires proven and dependable systems, and Russia's Il-78 family has logged decades of operational experience with several air forces, including India, Pakistan, and Algeria. In other words, China may simply be buying time, acquiring a stopgap solution while it refines the more advanced YY-20 at home. Still, reliance on Russia carries consequences. Moscow's own defense industry has been struggling under Western sanctions, limited access to components, and an overstretched production line serving its domestic war needs. If China truly placed an order for 20 Il-78s, success would hinge on Russia's ability to manufacture and export them on schedule, a commitment that recent history suggests is far from guaranteed. From a geopolitical standpoint, the leak underscores the tightening military partnership between Moscow and Beijing. Russia gains a vital export customer and political goodwill, while China gains strategic depth, the ability to project power far beyond the first island chain that once confined its air operations. But for Washington, Tokyo, and Australia, the message is mixed. On one hand, China is extending its operational reach. On the other, the leak reveals that its technological self-sufficiency is still incomplete. In modern warfare, air tanker aircraft are far more than flying gas stations. They are force multipliers, enabling fighters, bombers, and reconnaissance planes to stay airborne longer, fly farther, and strike deeper. For the PLAF, that means longer patrols across the South China Sea, extended deterrence over Taiwan, and greater flexibility to operate with stealth aircraft such as the G-20. But such expansion demands enormous logistical support: trained crews, new infrastructure, spare parts pipelines, and long-term maintenance programs. Analysts from The Aviationist emphasize that air-to-air refueling capability often separates regional powers from global ones. Without a robust tanker fleet, even the most advanced fighter squadrons are strategically short-legged. They must rely on bases close to contested zones, an approach that exposes them to surveillance and attack. With long-range refueling assets like the Il-78MK-90A, China could maintain continuous patrols deep into the Pacific, yet still face challenges sustaining those missions over time. The domestic YY-20 program remains the wild card. Built by Xi'an Aircraft Company, the YY-20U promises digital flight systems, modern fuel transfer pods, and compatibility with newer fighters. However, reports from Jane's Defense Weekly indicate production remains slow and integration tests ongoing. In that context, the leaked Il-78 order might act as a bridge technology, filling operational gaps until China's own tanker can be mass-produced. It's a practical solution, though one that highlights a subtle irony. To achieve global reach, Beijing still turns to Russia. For the West, the revelation offers both caution and opportunity. Caution, because an expanded PLAF tanker fleet could shift the balance of endurance in the Indo-Pacific. Opportunity, because it exposes the limits of China's self-reliance and its continued dependence on Russian technology. While Western air forces perfect stealth logistics and autonomous refueling drones, Beijing is still negotiating for decades-old designs from its northern ally. Modern air power is not just about building aircraft. It's about maintaining ecosystems, engines, sensors, maintenance cycles, spare parts, and the people who sustain them. And here it's where NATO and its allies continue to hold a qualitative edge. China's defense complex can mass-produce hardware at speed, but producing reliability and interoperability is a slower, harder climb. If the leaks are genuine, then China's order for 20 Il-78MK-90As tells us more than any parade could. It reveals ambition coupled with anxiety, growth tempered by dependence. Even as Beijing seeks to dominate the skies, it still relies on the engineering heritage of an ally increasingly isolated from the Western world. Yet, it would be a mistake to underestimate what this partnership could yield. Russia's experience and China's industrial scale could together accelerate the production of hybrid systems, designs blending Russian frameworks with Chinese avionics and logistics. Such cooperation might help both nations bypass sanctions and develop a new model of military co-development outside Western influence. For policymakers in Washington and Brussels, this underscores the need for vigilance. China's pursuit of extended air reach is relentless, and every additional tanker increases its ability to maintain pressure in contested zones. But the same data shows that its progress still rests on fragile supply chains and untested industrial cooperation. Ultimately, if the reports hold true, this is not simply about 20 planes. It is about the geometry of modern air power, about who can stay airborne the longest, who can project force the farthest, and who can keep the machinery running when war drags on. In that race, reliability may matter more than raw numbers. China's ambitions are vast, but its foundations remain mixed, half homegrown, half borrowed. Russia gains profit and influence, but also risk. Its factories already strained by war now must meet foreign deadlines. Meanwhile, Western air forces continue to refine automation, stealth logistics, and global refueling networks that have no true equivalent elsewhere. So if this leak is genuine, it reminds the world that power projection is never absolute. Every empire of the sky depends on engines, pilots, fuel, and trust. And trust is often the hardest resource to manufacture. The world is changing fast, but one truth endures. Whoever controls the sky controls the game.